Hello and welcome. Now in this video we are going to start designing our first layout, okay? And the purpose of this video, guys, to give you the knowledge that you need to understand the properties, okay, and how to customize all the views that we have. So as you can see, I have empty project with Android Studio, and here we have this the component tree. We have this relative layout, and if you have, in your case, maybe if you create an empty project with Android Studio, you maybe have a constraint layout. So all what you need to do is going to your text tab. Here we have this, just type relative layout as mine, okay? Now going back to the design tab, the first thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna import some images to Android Studio that we are gonna use. So to add an images to Android Studio, first of all you need to download them from the internet, okay? Here in my case I have some images in my PC. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select them, okay? I'm gonna copy them, okay? Going back to Android Studio, expand here this app folder, then this res, then inside my drawable folder I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna paste it, okay? Here as you can see, this one will show up, and make sure that you choose this drawable, not the drawable -v24, okay, but choose this drawable, the first one. Click OK, leave everything else and hit OK. And as you can see, all the images has been imported to our project. Now what you need to do, guys, let's select this relative layout, okay, which is the parent of all the views that we have. I'm gonna search for the one of the properties, which is called the background. Okay, now the background property, as the name suggests, will add a background to our screen. So click here on three dots, here we have it, okay? And here as you can see, this window will show up with all the images that we have in our project. Now as you can see, we have some tabs here. For example, the drawable, it's referring to all the images that we have. If you select a color, then you can choose a background color, but we are interested in this array, or sorry, not in the array, in this drawable tab. I'm gonna select, let's say, which image that we are gonna add. For example, this image right here, I'm gonna select it, hit OK. So as you can see, the image has been added as a background to our relative layout. Now as you can see, it's the first way of adding the background, but I'm not gonna do this, okay? I'm gonna remove it from here. I just want to show you that we can add a background, okay? I'm gonna remove it. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna search for the image view, okay? Here we have the image view. I'm gonna drag it and drop it, okay? I'm gonna choose the same image, okay? So as you can see, it shows more clearly than what we have previously. Now as you can see, it's not fill out all the screen. The reason behind this is, of course, we need to change one of the property that related to the image view, okay? And here as you can see, guys, if you type here the width, we have this, the width, okay, layout underscore width, which control the width of our image view. And if you click on this drop down, we have the match parent option, which is set it to be as big as the parent of it, in this case our relative layout, which will cover the whole screen, okay? So I'm gonna click on the match parent, okay? And also we want to do the same thing for the height, okay? Type height and you will find it. And as you can see, guys, these properties, actually it's not just for the image, but it's all the views. The width and the height, it's actually for all the views that you can change. Now as you can see, after add the width and height to be match parent, we cannot notice that the image should fill all the screen. Now the reason behind this is, actually there is a property that related to an image that will help us to scale the image as big as the screen. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna here search for the scale, okay? We have the scale type of property, and what you can do, click on it and click on this drop down and choose this center crop, okay? We have the center crop, click on it, and as you can see, it fill out all the screen, okay? So as you can see, we have first of all added the image as a background, and now we add it as an external image view that cover the whole screen. Now let's go ahead and add, for example, two buttons. I'm gonna drag and drop button. Okay, as you can see, here is the button. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you the power of the relative layout. Okay, so I'm gonna select my button, going here, the properties window. I'm gonna search for the align. Well, I'm gonna align it all the way to the bottom. Okay, now it's been added. And also I'm gonna search for property called center. Now once you type center, you will find these properties. Layout underscore center horizontally, it will center it in the horizontal of screen. I'm gonna check it. Okay, now as you can see, it's been centered. Or you can center it vertically, okay, or you can center it in the parent. That means it will be in the parent vertically and horizontally. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just center it horizontally. Okay, so as you can see, leave it like this. Okay, now the third thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add some space between the bottom and our screen. And the best thing to do this, I'm gonna type margin. Okay, now essentially the margin will give us space between the view and other view, or the view with whole screen. And we are interested here in margin, layout underscore margin. As you can see, we can give margin from the left, from the right, from the top, so on and so forth. So we are interested in the bottom. I'm gonna type, let's say 40 dB. Now the dB, it's just extend for density independent pixels. It's just a unit measure. Okay, I'm gonna click on it. So as you can see, it's give us some space. Now of course we can change the width of the button. Let's make it, for example, width. Search for width. As you can see, we can either make it match parent or wrap content. Now wrap content is just essentially as big as the content inside of it. So you get the idea, the difference between match parent and wrap content. Okay, now you can also add the numbers, for example 300 dB. Okay, as you can see, it's got been bigger. And also you can do the same thing with the height. For example, instead of wrap content, I'm gonna make it, for example, 40 dB or 50 dB. Okay, maybe 60. Now as you can see how it's look like. Now of course we can change the background. Okay, now here the background, you can add either a hex value, for example the color for let's say the white, or maybe let's add another color. Okay, so as you can see, we have the red color look like this. Okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna search for the text color as well. We can change it. Okay, just type text color. Here we have it. I'm gonna add the white one. Okay, I'm gonna show you also how to add colors in a second. Okay, now as you can see, it's look like this. And also what we can do, we can change the text itself inside the button. Just type text, and we have the text property right here. I'm gonna type get started. Okay, and we have it. We can change the size. Just type text size. I'm gonna make it, let's say 20, but not dB. Here we are gonna use the SP. It's just a unit measure for text. Okay, so as you can see how it's look like. So now guys, we have take a lot of the properties. Okay, essentially anything that you need to change, just type the name of it. For example, the text color, we just wrote text color, nothing magic goes here, and add the hex value. And if you do not know the hex value, there are a lot of websites that give you the hex value of any color. And for example, one of them called flatcolor.ui.com. okay, or choose any color picker using Photoshop or any color picker online, and it will provide you the hex value for all the colors. Give it, copy it and paste it here. And also for the background property, will change the background of anything, okay, that you selected. And the same thing for the text size. Okay, we have the text size, we have the text color, we have the text itself. So as you can see how it's look like now. Now this is the first way of adding colors. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and drag some text. Okay, so drag this text right here. Okay, what I'm gonna do now, my text color is selected. I'm gonna search for the property align once again. I'm gonna make it align parent top, and I'm gonna center it. Okay, just type center, center it horizontally, and Yeah, now it's in a great place. I'm gonna add the same thing, add some margin here from the top. Now in this case I'm gonna make it maybe 70 dB, so on and so forth. Okay, now I'm gonna increase the size a little bit, type in text size. Okay, provide the value that you want, for example 30 or maybe 35 SP. Okay, because the title, it's a title. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna type the text. Okay, the text should be, for example, Android development, for example. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add another text view below it. Okay, now here is a little thing that you can do, guys. Okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna center it. Okay, just search for the property center. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna search horizontally first of all, but now I do not want it here on the top. I want it to be all the way to be below this button always. Okay, what I can do, I can search for the property below. Okay, we have this property called layout underscore below. Now when you assign this property to a certain view, okay, you need to do two things. The first one is the view that you want to assign this property to, okay, and another view. Now what I mean by another view, in our case we want this button or this text view to be always below this one. Okay, so this view will hold this property, and this view, second one here, will be the target. Okay, now how we target a view? To target a view we need to assign it an ID. Okay, so if you have any experience with web development, for example, when you add something in HTML, to target it in CSS or any to target in CSS, to add a stylet, you need to use an ID or a class. Now the same thing goes here. All we need to do, guys, is just assign an ID to both of these. So in this case, first of all, the biggest text here, I'm gonna assign an ID, search for the ID property. Here we have it. I'm gonna just type title, okay, and hit enter. Okay, and the second text view that I'm gonna select it here, I'm gonna search for the property below once again. Okay, I'm gonna click on it and click on the drop down right here, and here we have the title. I'm gonna click on it, so as you can see, it's got pin below it. Okay, and all we need to do now is just to provide some margin from the top, and you will be in a great place. Margin top to be, let's say, 20 dB. Okay, now the second thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna type text here. I'm gonna type learn Android app development, for example, from me. Okay, oops, we need to type Android development from. Okay, I do not know why it's shown like this. Let me check it. Yeah, we have misspelling something, from me. Now as you can see, the text being shown for us correctly. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna maybe increase the size a little bit. Okay, text size to be, let's say, 16 SP. Okay, and maybe you can change the color, so on and so forth. So as you can see, it's not very complicated. It's really simple layout that we have designed it using our basics view and basics properties that we have learned so far. Now let's take a quick recap of what the views that the properties that we have learned. First of all, we have to learn how to assign a background using the background property. Okay, how to import an images to your Android Studio by copying them to drawable folder, how to change the width and the height of certain view, how to change the text color, how to change the text size. Okay, now this is the basics of Android design. So as you can see, now we have it successfully finished. Okay, it's not that complicated, but it's very, very nice indeed. Now guys, your turn start now. Go ahead and design very similar application that you'll be proud, but change the image, change the color, and go ahead and play around and have your own experience with this stuff that you have get. So thank you guys so much for watching. We are gonna go ahead and design more and more and more in the next video.